Hey guys, welcome to another lecture. In this video, we'll focus on Azure Bastion, and then in the next lecture, we'll focus on service endpoints and private endpoints, which are better understood when described together, so that we can understand what both of them are and what are the differences and when we have to use one over the other because both serve similar purpose. So let's limit this chapter to Azure Bastion. Azure Bastion is nothing but a Azure PaaS offering that is it's a platform as a service which you can directly use and to connect to VMs over the private network. That is currently if you see if you take a look at this VM, it has a public IP address. I'll just copy that, and then if I go to the network settings, I do not enable any of them. Like there's no inbound rule for even SSH. So if I just try to log in into it using SSH, it's gonna time out after I guess 30 seconds. So while that gets timed out, we'll see what Azure Bastion is. If you go into this connect section, you know connect via Bastion, or you can have, as this is a Linux VM, it will give us SSH using, yeah, it got timed out, or native SSH, that is our local machine. Or these are all like the earlier ways, but now Azure has provided this one Bastion. Currently we do not have any Bastion created, so let's configure manually. So we'll use the same resource group. We'll just give network one Bastion, as we can have only one Bastion per network. And then availability zone will leave as it is, and then we'll take basics queue, virtual network, yeah, we'll use this. And yeah, one more thing is we need to have a subnet called Azure Bastion subnet with the exact same name, and the minimum number of CIDR block we have to give is /26. This is the mandatory requirement when we use Azure Bastion. I mean, there are three other subnets which we have to have the same exact same name. Is one is gateway subnet. uh, well, this is not required for this course, but I'm just explaining it. As you can see, Bastion requires a separate group, and yeah, it's already created with this name. So when you go to network, network gateway, this is the name of the subnet, default name. You cannot modify this. And then similarly for Azure Firewall, a default name is given and the default size is recommended. And then if you go to firewall management, then also like we have a dedicated subnet name for it. I mean, you cannot use this subnet for any other purpose. Similarly for route server, or default is where you can name it basically. I mean, this is a general subnet. All right, in this case I have already created Azure Bastion subnet with this is the minimal IP range. We have to give more than 26, that is it can be 25 or 24, but 26 is the minimum one. Right, this is the requirement for the Bastion. All right, let's go back. It's already selected because you cannot assign any other this one. All right, and you cannot deploy any other resources to this as well. Similar to the other ones, gateway subnet or firewall subnets, you cannot create any other resources in those subnets. Those are dedicatedly dedicated to that particular service. All right, let's create a new public IP for this one, and let's go to advanced. Nothing over here. Uh, let's hit create. Generally creation of a bastion takes around 10 minutes. So let's stop this video here, and I'll come back once it is done. Before I go, all right, this deployment has been submitted, but there's one more thing which we can remove from the VM, that is the public IP address. When we do not want users to communicate to this VM using any SSH, there is no need for public IP address. So, I mean, SSH is not allowed over public internet. So, I mean, if there isn't any, web server, we do not require this. So, I'm not going to delete it, but I'm going to disassociate it. It's going to be pretty quick. It should have been done by now. It's still going there, but yeah, it will be done. It's removed. So, all right, I'll come back once the deployment of Bastion is done. All right. Now that the Bastion is deployed, and as we can see, if I just refresh this page, we don't have any public IP address. And if I go to network settings, we do not actually see any rules that are allowing, internet access, that is basically SSH or anything. Just that one rule which we will be using now is allow VNet inbound. This is because Bastion is deployed into another subnet, but it is part of the same VNet, right? So VNet to VNet connection, we have all the ports and all the protocols open between them. So this is the rule which we are using to connect now. All right, so let's quickly go ahead. You can either use it from here, you can say connect via Bastion, or you can go to here, connect and Bastion. So yeah, so this is the bastion which we have deployed. It will auto use because you can only deploy one bastion per virtual network. It will automatically pick it up. And this is where it shows what is the provisioning status. If it's like, still provisioning, it says pending, so that you have to wait before you can connect. Authentication types could be multiple things. The same thing like, password from Key Vault or SSH from local firewall Key Vault. Currently we are using VM password, so let me just uh, all right. So yeah, as I've clicked open in another browser tab, it has opened me a new tab. But in most of the cases, the pop-up would be blocked by the browser. So you have to enable it, and then a new tab will open. So yeah, I am able to connect to the VM, and yeah, I can just type in app guide update, and I can update whatever I need. Yeah, I can do anything. One last thing about Bastion is Bastion is a costly service, so make sure once you experience the creation and understanding the Bastion, remember to delete it. That is very important because this particular service costs us a lot. And one more thing, anytime and every time, once you are done with your learning, please make a habit of cleaning up the at least the ones that cost us, that is virtual network do not cost us, so you can leave them as it is. VM, IP, NIC, disk, all these will cost us, so make a habit of cleaning up of all of these once you're done with your learning. That's it for today's video. Thank you guys for watching.